Yeah.
Oh, it's fish breath.
Yeah.
Greetings from the Channel Islands. We are here on Santa Cruz Island, one of the larger islands in the Channel Island chain off the coast of California, central to southern coast of California, just to be specific. Like I said, I'm on Santa Cruz Island. You see that island in the distance there? That's Anacapa Island. And then all the way on the distance there, that's the mainland of California. This island chain is a part of a mountain range known as the Transverse Mountain Range, which goes from here, these Channel Islands, all the way out into the mainland, part of the San Gabriel Mountains, San Bernardino Mountains, if you know anything about Southern California geography. Anyway, since we're on an island, islands are known to have pretty good examples of allopatric speciation, or geographical isolation of species, which allows for isolated pool of genes to become more prominent. Kind of gives evidence of adaptation of organisms on this island. Anyway, so that's the reason I'm here, and we're gonna biologize the hell out of this place. All right, welcome. First stop. Welcome to my private beach here. Although I guess it's not fully private. We still got that jackass right there in the sailboat. Nah, I'm just talking shit. Go ahead, use your money, king. Looks like a bunch of people have been collecting bones here. This is pretty cool because this is also a form of biologizing, kind of knowing what the bones are. You know, what pieces of the animal that you're looking at. Like for this, for example, this one's easy because it's still got some of the flesh attached, but this is obviously a flipper, a pectoral flipper, or I guess that's the front arms, the front legs of Xolophus californianus, the California sea lion. Got a couple of ribs that probably came from seals or other pinniped type species. Pinnipeds are like seals, sea lions, and stuff like that. This right here, this is a pelvic girdle of what I think is a bird, some sort of bird. The only reason I say that is it's very light. You know, bird bones are very light. You can see the acetabulum, where the femora fits in right here. It's very bird-like, probably from a pelican, if I was to guess. Big bird like a pelican. Yeah, here we got some scapula right here, probably also from those seals and sea lions and everything. And also you got some mollusks. You got right here some gastropod shells, large gastropod shells. This right here looks interesting. I think this is also the vertebrae of a bird, probably the neck vertebrae of a bird. Oh, right here we got the back. Oh, yeah, this is another bird, different species of bird, smaller bird, maybe a cormorant. You can compare that to this one right here. Kind of looks the same. See? But there's a different species, different piece of bird. Look how it has this keel. I wonder what that's used for. Maybe for mussels, for swimming. Yeah, this is probably a cormorant bird that swims, a pursuit diver, swims underneath the water to catch prey, whereas this, probably from a pelican, which is a plunge diver, plunges in the water. So it has weaker muscles attached to this hip girdle here. Oh, right here, this looks like a skull, some sort, the back of the skull. Yeah, pretty dope, huh? Oh, hey, look at this. Yeah, I was right. Well, I mean, this is a California sea lion. I could tell by that front flipper. I wonder if this is a shark attack right here. The reason I say that because it's missing a head. I mean, I don't know. I don't really know too much about shark attacks or anything like that, but that is definitely a California sea lion, Xolophus californianus. There's a young one. I don't know, maybe it got hit by a boat, probably got attacked by a shark or something like that. But that's what happens on these secluded beaches. You have large mammal carcasses that wind up here, and now they're food for carrion-eating organisms like those crows. Prehistorically, I imagine condors and bald eagles just eating these, having a day out here. But, you know, since human encroachment has occurred and, you know, Europeans moved out here, a lot of those ecological functions have been taken out. But I know it's gross, but you know, this is part of ecology right here. Look at all these aggregating anemones here. Anthoplura elegantissima, aggregating anemone in the Nidaria. These are all animals, filter feeding, whatever might get washed up by this surf. Oh, here's some open ones right here. We got aggregating anemone, seeing as they aggregate. Look, they covered up this whole rock. Wow, look at this one. Yeah. Oh. okay, I don't want to walk on these rocks too much because I don't want to destroy. Like a lot of the rocks that you find near the coast, since there's very few people here, they're not covered in all this stuff because they're not being walked on. But I just saw a cool one right here. Once this, oh, look at that, just coming out of the dust, coming out of the dust fog. Ooh. Whoa. Wow, I think that's Anthoplura sola, I believe. Sunburst anemone. Or green anemone. It might be the green anemone. Yeah, aggregating anemones. Aggregating all over these rocks. They pretty much covered all the rocks within this surf zone, within this splash zone. Getting all these little bits and pieces of planktonic organisms and whatnot, eating them. Oh, you can see here they're aggregating these pieces of rocks and shells, so when the tide goes down they can block some of that solar radiation, some of that mean DNA mutating solar radiation. Very old lineage of organisms, obviously. They're cnidarians. They're radiosymmetrical animals. Been around for hundreds of millions of years. Related to coral. Let's go see that green one again. Yeah, I think that's the green sea anemone. And the only reason I'm saying that is because it's bright green, obviously. But another reason why it's bright green, well, a lot of these anemones, even these aggregating anemones here, they have symbiotic algae in their cells. So when they're exposed in the photic zone, that is the zone in the water where light easily shines through, during the daytime, especially when they're not getting a lot of animal particles to eat or animal food sources, they got that zooxanthellae in their tissues that helps them photosynthesize sugars out of the carbon dioxide. It's a symbiosis. It's a mutualistic symbiosis between two groups of organisms, a photosynthetic one and an animal. You see that a lot in the world, but I guess people just don't really realize it at first. That's why you need scientists, because they actually look into things. But yeah, so classic rocky intertidal ecosystem, just like we saw at Laguna Beach earlier this year. But here we're in a place that is hardly impacted by people. Hardly. I mean, it was impacted back in the day, but since all those people weren't allowed on this island anymore, and by the way, those people, I mean like Native Americans, when they're kicked out by Americans, yeah, you get a rebound in a lot of these animal resources here in the rocky intertidal, in a lot of this, in this ecotone zone, when going from terrestrial to marine ecosystems. That's why, oh, whew, that's how you can get all these rocks covered in all these cnidarians. You got your pink volcano barnacles right here, Mytilus californicus, Mytilus californicus, California mussel, some phaeophyton brown algae or something like that. We got these acorn barnacles, Balanus slash thalamus. Some limpets here. Looks like we have one or two different species of limpets. I believe they're in the genus Laudia. A mollusk gastropod. Oh, look at this one right here. So apparently they have the shapes of these cells because, well, obviously when you have all this wave pressure going all along the rocks, hitting the rocks, having this shape allows them to not get knocked off the rocks. Also, I found out that they're very territorial, and they'll actually use the shape of their shells to like pry other limpets off to get them out of their grazing areas. These are like the cows of the rocky intertidal, basically. Yeah, here we go. You go upper intertidal, mid intertidal, low intertidal, and then out there underneath the water would be sub intertidal. Oh, look at this. This is cool. Just walking back out of here, came up on this dead organism right here, or collection of organisms, I guess. Depends on how you look at it. Anyway, this thing is in the phylum Porifera, the phylum of sponges. And each one of those little itty bitty pores There's lives the home of a collection of these things called choanocytes, which are just basically cells with little wispy tails on them that cause a current that flows through the body of this whole organism, and then it subsequently filter feeds any organisms that it can get out of it. People actually use these sponges to wash dishes before they actually made synthetic sponges. Anyway, phylum Peripheral, interesting to see this. You don't see. What are you doing? Are you actually hunting for a change? Not trying to steal people food? You're a sign literalis. Offshoot of the gray fox that can be found on the mainland.
Totally like a cat.
Yeah, just making the rounds. Just making the rounds.
Yeah, these island foxes are pretty much like behaviorally nothing like the gray foxes, their ancestral population on the mainland. These have completely adapted to really just not give a shit about humans or anything else that might prey upon them. I know in the past they had a problem with golden eagles because of DDT. Like DDT was killing off all the bald eagles, so golden eagles kind of took their place. But golden eagles have no problem eating these. But since then, since the whole DDT issue or ordeal kind of subsided away, well, what's it eating? I wonder what it's got. These guys have bounced back, and because of all the protections, really they can live a happy life, no problem. They even have somewhat flappy ears, kind of like how when they bred dogs from wolves and stuff, so they seem a little bit more docile. You shouldn't touch them though, because they'll fuck you up. Behaviorally, completely different from the gray fox. You will never see a gray fox, or you will hardly ever. You should feel lucky to see a gray fox. I mean, they're around, but like, yeah, you hardly ever see gray foxes. You come to Santa Cruz Island, you'll get sick of these. Nah, you won't. They're too cute to get sick of. Look at that. Just don't touch them, they'll give you rabies. All right, out here on the kayak, right off the coast, the rocky shoreline of Santa Cruz Island here in Southern California. Right here looks pretty damn interesting to me. I don't know if you see all those like holes and cracks and crevices. I mean, first of all, those provide habitat for a lot of nesting birds. They like those cracks and crevices, and as a part of that, like, you got predatory bird species that'll take advantage of any of these nesting birds that are nesting here. But what's more interesting to me is that you look at the bottom of this rock formation as opposed to the top, and like you see the bottom to me looks igneous. Like the bottom to me looks like it's igneous rock, like that was a magma plume or pressure plume that kind of just pushed up, and then everything on top of it is just the old marine seafloor just dripping down off of it because it got pushed up by magma tectonic activity, and how the old seafloor is just weathering away slowly, just dripping off of it. Yeah, that rocks my boat. Not gonna lie, rocks my boat. Imagine how many millions of years it took for it to do that. At least 20 million years. 20 million years, I think. I think 20 million years, yeah. Yoga girlfriend stuff. In case you thought I was bullshitting you about that old seafloor, there's a bunch of it right there. That just got like sandwiched up through the center of the magma mass, and that's the stuff that's still eroding to this day. You see all that right there? Stay layered. Take the time to talk about kelp anatomy. Maculatus pyrifera. This is giant kelp, fastest growing organism on the planet. Grows about 3 feet a day. a lot of people think these are plants, but these are not plants. These are actually more related to algae. They're in the brown algae group called the Phaeophyta. Brown algae because it's somewhat brown, but it is somewhat green too because it does have chlorophyll in it. Chlorophyll, the active chemical structure, or yeah, chemical structures that turn light energy and allow for the fixation of carbon dioxide in order to get that carbon to essentially grow. All right, so it looks a lot like a plant because it does a lot what plants do. It has photosynthesis, and it does photosynthesis. It's got these stem-like structures, but these aren't stems. These are called stipes. All right, and then it has these leaf-like structures. I guess they're called blades or fronds or something like that, but they're analogous to a leaf. They look like a leaf. They're not the same thing as a leaf, but they do the same thing that a leaf does. Has wide surface area, so it can have the maximum amount of photosynthesis that it can get. Now you might notice these things. You've probably been walking on the beach, and then you like step on them and pop them because they're fun, because humans have that kind of thing that we like doing. But anyway, these are called pneumatocysts with a P, P-N-E-U, matocysts. Not like nematocysts like on a cnidarian, not the stinging cells. Pneumatocysts, new meaning air sac, air-filled sac. And that's exactly what they are. They're sacs filled with air so that they can float up in the water column. Now they don't have roots like plants. They have structures that kind of look like roots. If you were to follow this all the way down to the bottom to the rock that it's attached to, you would see this root looking like structure, but it's not a root, it's a holdfast. It's literally structured just to keep it holding on to the rock or whatever substrate that it's on. And they don't need roots because they live in water. They can just get the water straight from the water. There, Kelp Anatomy. Okay, bye. All right, greetings from the campsite here on Santa Cruz Island. Although I didn't film the catching of this fish, I did catch it earlier because we're going to eat it. The common name of this fish is the ocean whitefish. It's a common fish found off the coast of California, I think in Northern California too. I think you can find it anywhere from, I don't know, 15 to like 300 feet deep or something like that. These things are basically kind of like pelagic or demersal ocean dwellers. They'll live swimming constantly through the water column at about, I don't know, just off the ocean floor. Specialize in eating, you know, little bits and pieces of food, maybe other fish that have been torn up by sharks, other little arthropods and mollusks and stuff like that. And yeah, they make a good living as a species doing that. It is in the perciform order, so it's in the order of perch-like fishes. And it's interesting because, like all perciform fish, they have spiny rays, first set of spiny rays, and then a second set of soft dorsal rays. But in this case, they're fused together by these membranes here. And that probably gives it a certain behavior when it swims. I don't know what that behavior is used for. I don't know if it's a survival thing or if it's to like show off to other conspecifics. Conspecifics are members of the same species, because it does have this kind of light band right here. I wonder if that's like a signaling thing. Like, I don't know. Never looked into it. And then the anal fin has kind of the same marking, and it's also got the same sort of coloration pattern on his pectoral fins here. It's got that nice yellow band. Got a nice like blunt face. That protruding mouth that you can find on all teleos fish, pretty much. Premaxilla, maxilla, and dentary at the bottom, opening up where they articulate so they can create that vacuum-like structure to suck in their food, essentially. All right, so this is a part of biologizing. You know, you have living organisms, and then we all eat living organisms. That's how we obtain our carbon and our nitrogen as animals. So might as well have a little fun with your food, so to speak. So I'm going to treat this like I'm doing a little dissection. I'm going to make a transverse cut right behind this pectoral fin right here. Cut right into it. And then I'm going to make a longitudinal cut straight down the median dorsal portion right here. It pays to have a sharp knife. I'm going to do the same thing on the ventral part right alongside the anal fin. Here, all right, why would I pop there? This is the swim bladder. You can see the reet morab right there. There's a bunch of blood vessels that allow for gas diffusion, particularly oxygen, through this membrane going from the blood into this chamber, so you can get some buoyancy. Right here we got the liver. This green part right here looks like to be part of the intestine. Oh sorry, we got the liver right here.
right here seems to be, I think, yeah, right under there. I don't know if you can see that, right under there. Boom, this structure right here, that's the heart. From the looks of it, this seems to be a female. It's got this reproductive sac that seems like it has this granular like structures in there. Those are eggs, or soon to be eggs. So I guess this was a female. I ruptured this part right here. You can see it's bleeding. That is just blood because I ruptured the renal area of this fish, or the kidneys. Fishermen like to call this the bloodline. Now that it's all cut up, I'm looking at it even more. Just, you know, again, just playing with my food, looking at the pectoral fins, and seeing that, like, I wonder if these can be like transient swimming, transient ocean swimmers. The only reason I say that is because the pectoral fins like nice and kind of like straight, pointy. So they move pretty agilely. I don't know if that's even a word. They're pretty agile swimmers, I would say. But then just seeing the amount of myomeres and how soft the muscle tissue is, they don't seem to be sustainable, like fast burst or fast swimming oceanic swimmers. They kind of hang out in their structures most of the time, moving back and forth from structure to structure, just above the bottom, above the benthos, I would say. It's interesting here. It's got these little comb-like structures on the edge of the pre-operacle. That's interesting. I wonder what it uses those for. The pre-operacle is just a bone, really, that has muscles attached to it, so it can pull the rest of the operculum open like that. And then you got the operculum here, and it's got like one spine on there, which I wonder if that's for. I wonder if it's for defense. And then under this, you have these things called the branchiostegals. And these are just like a valve-like structure, so it can adjust how much water flow is going past the gills, I guess. Oh, there's the tongue. I mean, the basihio. It's right there. No teeth on the basihio. A little more. Two. In the last but not least, you have to have this sauce right here. This is by far the best sauce that has ever existed on the market today. If you don't agree with me, you can